Hello, today I'm joined by Stani Kulechov, founder and CEO of Aave. Founded in 2017, Aave is a decentralized lending platform that allows users to lend, borrow, and earn interest on crypto assets, all without middlemen. The Aave platform enables the creation of lending pools that lets users lend or borrow different cryptocurrencies. So it runs on the Ethereum blockchain. Aave uses smart contracts, meaning users don't need to trust a particular institution or person to manage these agreements. Aave's native token provides holders with discounted fees on the platform and also acts as a governance token, which gives users a say in the future development of the protocol, which I'm really excited to learn a little bit more about. So, Stani, welcome to the podcast. We have a little tradition around here. First question we always ask is, how did you earn your first pound, euro, or buck? How did you become an entrepreneur?
Yeah, thanks, Nick, for having me here. That's a good question because I think my first earned buck was in euro and it was earned online. So
Okay. What'd you do?
so I created a website where actually you can submit your own guides, and because there was so traffic on this website and it was on in Finnish language, so I come from Finland, Helsinki, so I had ads there. So that was the first time I was experimenting with Google Ads, and basically Google paid my first paycheck ever, which is quite funny.
Cool. So very like digitally native entrepreneurship experience. I like that. So from ads, moving forward, how did you get into crypto? What was sort of your journey down the rabbit hole, learning about money, digital money, and cryptocurrency?
I stumbled upon a couple of times into Bitcoin, and basically how it works as well. But I got more excited about blockchain in general, and I think that was when I started to read more about Ethereum, and how there is a programmable computer. And then I went to one of the events and in tech slash. It's a big event organized in
In
the Nordics.
Helsinki.
Yeah, and and at that year, I think it was 2000. I think it was 2016 or 15, where they had a big theme about blockchain. One of the major themes, and I think you were speaking there as well, and talking about how people can be their own banks and you know and that part. And I just got more and more excited and started to read about Ethereum, and that got me into thinking like, oh, this is actually an operating system and you can build a lot of things, especially finance, because that's where the narrative started from. So I think that was the very first route.
That's cool. I didn't know we shared that history in Slush, so that's a good touch point. It's also one of my favorite events every year. They host a huge tech conference in what they call the coolest place on earth, which is Helsinki in the wintertime, which I can agree to. So,
Right.
all right, let's talk a little bit about your role as the founder and CEO of Aave. So, maybe tell us a little bit about the origin story of Aave. Where did it come from? Why did you find the need to develop this, and what's sort of the original genesis of the idea?
Yeah, I mean, something that happened during my research is that I really wanted to build something finance related over a blockchain, because we saw a lot of value coming in. So with the tokenization, we saw not just Bitcoin, we saw also stable coins, back in those days, USDT, but also interesting applications, very primitive applications built on Ethereum. And that got me thinking that now that there is a way of exchanging value between peers in a decentralized manner through decentralized exchanges, and Ether Delta being one of the first ones that was launched back in 2016 in summer, I got more curious about what if you could actually use this value as a collateral, actually, and you can borrow against tokenized assets and earn at the same time. So you could actually give your assets into a contract where a smart contract where other people can borrow against a collateral them, and you can increase your holdings of your cryptographic assets. And back then, we started to do small iterations of smart contracts, and we were ETHLend, short for Ethereum lending, before Aave, a small community that started to just grow quite quickly. And I decided back then, I was still studying in the university, that this is taking fully my time now. So I really need to do this full time. And we opened an office back in those days, 2017, 18, in Switzerland. And then that's where we rebranded to Aave, and now later opened a bigger office in London, where we have been growing. So that's the whole kind of like a short inception story.
Oh, I like that. So, cool to hear the origin story of the team. So, talk to us a little bit about some of the challenges that you have faced finding product market fit, and how does it differ maybe from other lending platforms or even from traditional financial lending services, to give our listeners a bit of an idea of how they can think about this in the context of maybe familiar relationships they might have with their bank or with a lending company.
Yeah, I mean, something fascinating about the tech that we built is that we build for access. So our kind of vision is that we want everyone to have same equal opportunity to access the same financial opportunity with the same rules. And smart contracts and decentralized finance provides that quite well, because these contracts are built with the execution that is guaranteed, and can only be changed by community governance process. It's on a public blockchain ledgers, the deployments itself. So you see all the transactioning. So those bases are there. But the actual ability to participate and use decentralized finance has been quite niche. So going even back in time, what we noticed is that there has been quite small amount of, I would say, like a group of people that was interested in decentralized finance years ago, and that has been steadily growing. But it's still very small area. So typically, when someone comes into crypto, they onboard themselves through an exchange, or where which is more centralized way because of the on ramping perspective. And the Aave protocol itself, you have the direct access in a non-custodial way, but at the same time, it's basically built to be an infrastructure and a kind of like a backbone for some of these financial transactions that we want to perform in the space. So one of the most challenging parts definitely has been that educating the user of the non-custodial aspects. What are smart contracts like, and even what is blockchain and what is crypto, and all this kind of like education in between has been the most challenging part for us. And it's easier now than it used to be before, but it's something that we across the whole crypto space kind of have to still get better on educating newcomers.
Definitely. So, someone can go buy crypto on an exchange or maybe using a blockchain.com wallet. They can then send that crypto to a smart contract on the Aave platform. Now, talk to us about what kind of yield can they earn? How do they have some confidence that that contract will execute in a way that is reliable? What are some of the things consumers should know about? But also, what are the opportunities there? I think you touched on something that is really something that's passionate to me, which is building this open and accessible financial system. These types of tools used to only be available to people in Canary Wharf or sort of the financial centers of the world. But by democratizing access to things like a lending protocol, regular consumers can also earn passive income on collateral that they possess. So, talk to us a little bit about what kind of yields they can get. What does it look like to be a user of the Aave protocol?
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, the yield, and well, we usually call it interest rate strategies, and the execution is guaranteed with the smart contract. So, smart contracts are just applications or piece of code that has been deployed into the blockchain that is replicated in all these nodes. Meaning that also that if you want to change those rules or policies, you have to go through a formal governance process. So what exciting about that is that the Aave team itself. So we the builders, we can't go and actually change those parameters for you. But typically in internet applications, if you are engineer, you could actually change some of the features on the fly because you are hosting the server. And by having this kind of like more of community governance, it means that actually it's the users that come together and decide what could be the interest rate strategy. And then mainly it's based on the supply and demand. So typically you can earn from 1 to 2% on stable coins in the current market conditions. And obviously, when the markets are in a more upstream condition, what happens usually there is more demand for stable coins, which means that the yields are going higher. And I think that's the exciting part of the system that um, those interest rate formulas can be actually changed based on market conditions, based on the collateralization, what kind of risk is introduced into the protocol, and that's quite fascinating. And the part of like providing equal opportunity is very important because if we think about the idea of wallets in general in crypto, that's the kind of like a fastest way to get people connected into the same payments and financial network. So that's been like very big part of our vision as well. And you can actually so recently we deployed the version 3 of the protocol, and we've been focusing quite a lot on this cross-chain idea. So now the Aave protocol is not only deployed on Ethereum network, but also on Polygon, on Avalanche, and so-called layer twos, Optimism, Arbitrums. These names come pop up quite frequently when anyone might be looking into the scalability of the blockchain. And it also means that assets needs to move between those networks, and that's where we've been focusing upon recently.
Cool. So, to summarize, basically, someone that owns some Bitcoin, Ethereum, or maybe a stable coin can earn some passive income through these interest rate strategies,
Yeah,
which come at different degrees of rates, but also based on everything from the amount of collateral they're posting to the conditions in the market, basically. Okay, cool.
exactly.
So, earn some extra income while you're sleeping with your crypto. I love that. Let's talk a little bit about sort of like your team size. Like, how big is the Aave team? I guess like we're always sort of in crypto trying to get a sense for the teams and the faces behind all the hard work. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean we're very small. We're 80 people. Half is here in London, and the rest of the team is kind of like distributed across the globe. So we've always been very small in terms of the projects we're working upon, and I hope we can keep it small. But there's always a bit demand to expand the team and build something more.
I think 80 is a pretty good sized team, depending on who you ask. Um, so, one of the ways that you guys have sort of encouraged adoption is through the use of the Aave token. So, can you describe sort of the tokenomics of Aave, how it benefits users to own some because it provides discounts? Walk us through sort of the use case of the utility token known as Aave.
Yeah, I mean, end of the day, the first kind of idea of the Aave token is that it's a governance token of the protocol itself. So that the team or no single point of entity needs to govern the protocol. It's actually the token holders that come together and vote on different kinds of proposals. So some proposals might have few dozen participants, some might have few hundred participants. For example, the recent V3 launch. And what is good about that is that it brings this idea of anyone can come actually and contribute, come up with ideas, share them in the governance forum, and those ideas might translate over time into a code that then is voted upon and goes into the blockchain and changes policies or the protocol itself. So it's access control there. And then there's the ability of staking Aave. So what it means is that when you stake Aave into so-called safety module, you are, as a community member, backstopping the risk of the protocol. So if there is some sort of a shortfall event, which could be some sort of failed liquidation or smart contract exploit, for example, then that safety module is used to cover that deficit. So it's basically allowing the community members to take additional risk against a reward, staking reward, to backstop that potential risk that might be caused. And that's as simple it is actually.
Okay, so basically, the governance token helps give a voice to all the
Yeah.
community members that can actually vote on the proposals that go into the longer term consideration of improvements and changes to the Aave protocol. So, a lot of a way to basically participate in even the development and voice of the community. I love that stuff. That's extremely cool. Okay, let's actually talk a little bit about that. So the Aave protocol is always improving and changing. You just talked about V3 and the cross-chain work you're doing. So, what are some of the exciting proposals that are being considered by the team? And to the extent you can share, what does the next 6 or 12 months look like? What is the team focused on? And what are you going to look back on and hopefully be proud of, by the end of this year?
Yeah, and the Aave community and the governance is very active actually at this point. So I, even to the extent that I don't have all the time for myself to actually review all the proposals, which is interesting position to be in. But there's sort of people in the governance that are actually doing it in full time. There's also so-called delegate platforms, so anyone can become a delegate and rally for governance power, and then help to make decisions in the decentralized governance. Something that's very fascinating now, there's multiple proposals to add LSDs, so-called liquid staking derivatives, into the Aave protocol as a collateral. So an example of liquid staking derivative is staked ETH. So when you stake your ETH to validate transactions on Ethereum, there are some pools that are actually creating derivatives where they make that position liquid, meaning that when you stake your ETH, you get in return stake ETH, which is a token that represents your stake. So you can actually put that as a collateral in Aave and borrow more ETH and restake, and basically get this kind of like a bit of more leverage for your staking activities. So Lido is one example. There's Rocket Pool, Stakewise. Just Coinbase has also some sort of staking CBE proposal as well. So it's getting quite popular actually. And with the Aave protocol, you can get more out of it. What we're focusing now, so we've quite a lot are focusing now post V3 launch on the Go stablecoin. And Go stablecoin is over collateralized stablecoin that is minted against your collateral on Aave. So from time to time, currently there's multiple stablecoins listed in the Aave protocol. So you have DAI, you have USDC, USDT, and from time to time, actually, there's liquidity crunches for those stablecoins. So being able to kind of fulfill those needs and demand spikes, Go is basically one of these stablecoins in Aave. So we're always thinking of the Aave markets and the community to be as diverse as possible regarding assets. So it's not replacing the existing stablecoins, but effectively is supporting the Aave ecosystem. And it allows you to actually earn on your collateral while you mint Go, the stablecoin. And all the revenue, so-called reserve factor, goes actually directly to the DAO treasury, which can then give grants and contract smart contract security work or risk management for some of these entities that are participating in the Aave governance. So that's going to be our almost full focus for the next 6 months on our side.
Cool. It sounds like you're going to be pretty busy. Okay. Last question. What is sort of your macro view on the next 12 months? What are things you're sort of encouraged by? What are things you sort of realistically reassuring the community about and the team? I think crypto famously has periods of lots of excitement and then periods where there's a lot of work to be done to reestablish great use cases, firm trust within the protocols and the teams working in the sector. What is sort of your message to the team and to the Aave community?
I do see that over the past years now. So we've grown quite a lot of the technical stack. So in the very beginning when I was joining in crypto and starting to build things, there was one decentralized exchange that wasn't really used by more than probably 80 people. So, and then we've have a lot of infrastructure on the decentralized finance side. We've seen now DAOs becoming a way of coordinating between people across different communities. We've seen non-financial applications. Even the Aave team is contributing to build the Lens protocol, which is Web3 social. And we will see probably even more and more non-financial applications going into also gaming. So I do see a lot of infrastructure being built, but also I see a lot of scalability as well. So with layer twos, we probably will see that actually some of these stable coins will go into internet payments as well down the line. So I feel very optimistic, and I do measure it from the perspective how much actually technology there is around us, and people are building still, regardless of the current market conditions.
Yep, I think that's wise. So, more infrastructure, more scalability, and wide scale internet payments are things we see in the not too distant future. Cool. Well, Stani, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, teaching us a little bit more about Aave. If anyone liked what they heard, you can purchase Aave right within your blockchain.com wallet. Thank you so much for your time, and definitely check out Aave.
Thank you so much.